what is the effective way to, um, I guess, combat or go against or stand up against personified evil? Rob, what is that effective approach?
Yeah, so there's what looks willingly at the darkness. I have a couple other questions there. What is it that can look upon the face of the abyss and not be overcome? What is it that can fully enter this torturous game and not be converted? What can hang upon the cross and not be lost? And um, I think the answer, as cliche as it might be, the answer is love, right? It was love that was hanging on the cross, right? That gave itself to the cross for the sake of goodness. Um, what is the best player of this hardest game? Tying back to the idea of the game theory, this being a difficult game, what's the best way to play it? Well, in love. Um, I say love itself is that which can endure all dismemberment of fully knowing and inhabiting the psyche of man. Love is the only effective approach for reaching full embodiment, full incarnation. So I'm just reading this because I think it's a straight to the point, and I said what I wanted to say well in those pages. So, um, and I think in this sentence I said something more than I understood, and I've come to appreciate it more. It is only through knowing the intimate presence of love and learning to serve its mysterious purposes that we can come to see the full nature and purposes of our finite character. So that learning to serve its mysterious purposes, right? We're either serving love or we're serving what is not love, right? What's not based in love. Um, and when we sort of started out, the challenge was to intellectually consider the proposition of maybe life is infinite and to come to the conclusion that it seems like life is probably infinite. By our logic, I think it's necessarily infinite. So there's the sort of intellectual beginning to paint the picture or suppose about infinity. Maybe there's a spiritual vision of the reality of infinite existence. But those are sort of looking at and talking about. That's what you see is the infinity of existence. But what you experience in union with that is boundless love. And so the when we look at it and call it, oh, that's infinite, but the quality of it, the nature of infinite life is love. And the answer to living well in this world is to be in communion with love. I mean, that's what we're missing to whatever degree. And that's the path back to restoration and healing, and is to come into communion with that love and to serve it and be absorbed in it.
You're right. It does sound cliche. It's you're waiting for the big reveal, and then at the end, it's love, right? And so it
Mm.
might turn a lot of people off, and because well, I've heard that so many times before. You may have heard it, but have you actually understood it? I think, there's so many songs, all you need is love, love is the answer, and it truly is. It truly is. It's a reciprocal affair where if you act in a righteous way and you act in a way that is a godly way, you're walking in the footsteps of Christ. The reciprocal feeling that you feel is love. And it's such a profound, expansive, loving feeling, the feeling of love, that the word love doesn't even really do it justice. We think of Valentine's Day, we think of a big, shape of something that is supposed to represent a heart. But if I'm not mistaken, the Greeks and other languages had multiple words for different types of love, like agape, a few others of because it's not easily definable, but you can feel it, you can experience it, you can express it. And just the thought of all you need is love. Okay, well, all I need is $1 million, right? The path to experience that love, that resonance, that upliftment, in many instances, especially in today's society, can take a tremendous amount of work due to uh, baggage that we all have, and the wrongs that we felt have been done to us, and the wrongs that we remember that we've done to others, and the bitterness and the resentment, and all that stuff. And so it takes work to get from that spot to the feeling of abundance and love. It doesn't, but it does, right? It's all intrinsic work, and there's no time frame that you can put on it. There's no direct set of a roadmap to get to that point. Um, I mean, there is, but it's all intrinsic. Like you can tell somebody, hey, actually, no, I take all of that back. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. You read the Bible, you follow it, and eventually and hopefully through practice, you get to a point to where it's easy to unburden yourself. If you receive Christ, then you don't have to hold on to all of that stuff, and it's not so difficult to let that go. um but I just wanted to tie that in there with it being, it's easy to say and it is a solution. But for a lot of people it takes work, and that love can also be experienced through purpose and meaning, through, if your purpose, of course, is to do, yeah, I think a lot of it is doing that intrinsic work, and understanding, feeling that presence within you that's guiding you into acts of love. And a lot of times it might not feel that way, right? Like if, let's say, you have to cut out ice cream in order to really full, for a crazy example, right? Cut out whatever vice you want, you might not realize that cutting out a specific vice is going to enable you to experience and express love in a much more efficient way. But you can't connect those dots, but there's that presence within you that is saying, that knows, hey, you got to cut that out before you can come over here and do this. And so you're not making that connection, but there's a part of you that knows. Yeah, so love is without a doubt the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I was thinking when you say that, well, oh, I've heard it over here. Now you're saying it here, like whatever cliche, I've heard it before. Another thing you ask would be like, what would you rather the answer be?
Right. Yeah.
Like, is there a better answer, really? Like,
Right. What?
the answer's money, dude. Like, just take a bath in money, and that's it. That's the peak pinnacle of everything. Like, or like, what would be a better answer? That. And then I also thought, there's a guy who I listened to for a while. He was talking about, he had criticisms and people were like, well, he's just saying the same thing, teachers have been saying for thousands of years. Like Christ said it, whatever, the Buddha said it. And he was like, well, yeah, duh. Like,
Right.
if I'm not saying the same thing as them, there's a problem
Right.
because like that the truth has been known. It's not like we're here now, like, oh, this guy, guys, we've got the truth. No one else ever had the truth, but we got it. We
Right.
like that's nonsense. The truth has been there. People have known it. Like, so if we're not ending up to say the same thing, then that's a problem
That's
because it's
right.
been said before. Like, yeah, it's been said before. Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
sometimes